Good morning, ladies. Good to see you all. Let me see you all, or let the sub see you all. What I'd like you to do to get started, let's take out this handout, this worksheet, and let's pause the video and wait for everyone to have this out in front of you. So mine looks different, obviously, because I've done some coloring, but get yours out. That doesn't have this yet, but it will soon. So take 1 second, pause the video, and take that out. All right. So I want to go step by step with you and have you add the things you need to add. We're going to add our key vocabulary terms for our map. So the first thing you need to add is the compass rose. North, east, never eat soggy waffles. North, east, south, west. Make the compass rose in the bottom right hand corner. Pause the video, wait till everyone's done, and then let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing we're going to create is called a scale. Everyone please say that. A what? That's correct, a scale. So your scale, in your scale, 1 inch equals 2,000 miles. So if you literally took a ruler and you went 1 inch, that would equal 2,000 miles. 2 inches, add them together, 4,000 miles. You with me? 3 inches, 6,000 miles. 4 inches, 8,000. But we represent that with these numbers down here. So 0, 1 inch, 2 inch, and that equals 0, 2,000, 4,000 miles. And the point is to help you understand on a map how far something actually is, because obviously the world is not this size. It's much bigger. So we need a scale to put that in perspective. So please pause the video, and if you haven't done so, finish the scale. And then the last thing you're going to do, and everybody's going to take more time on this one, so you can go ahead and after you have my directions, pause the video and take 4 or 5 minutes to complete this. So we're going to make a map key, and we're just going to have 2 items in our map key. First, we have lines of latitude, and those are in yellow. So we find and we start at the equator. That's our first line of latitude that goes all the way around the Earth, 25,000 miles. And then the distance gets shorter and shorter as our lines of latitude, which stay parallel always to the equator. The lines are equidistant apart. Geometry help there. You want to do all the lines of latitude in yellow. Please take your time. Don't mess this one up. You're not going to get a new copy. So all the lines of latitude in yellow, like this. And then, you guessed it, lines of longitude, same thing, except for now we're going the opposite way. We start at the prime meridian, and you notice something different about these lines. They're curved. So do your best to work your way through the countries. When the line goes out, you try your best to follow it, but we want a line for every line of longitude on both sides. When you're done with that, you're done with that section of the map. If you're not done, and by the time the sub says we're going to move on, then you can pause and finish that later or for homework. But I'm going to move on to the next thing we're going to cover when you're done working with that in 4 minutes. All right, everyone, please put everything down. I'm going to tell you a short story about myself so you can get to know me a little better. What we are working towards for the rest of this class, and whatever you don't finish will be homework over the weekend, is a project called My Map of Me. I've been doing this project for years. It's one of my favorites. And when I started teaching, this was my map, which I'm going to take 2 minutes and present to you so you can get to know me a little bit better. So this is my neighborhood. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I lived in, believe it or not, the city of Compton. Yes, me, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, we all come from the city of Compton at some point. So I lived off of these 2 streets, Compton Boulevard and Redondo Beach Boulevard, as I marked here and indicated. And I lived in the green, well, I lived in the blue. No, yep, nope. I lived in the brown. I lived in the brown here, the convent. I lived in a convent in Compton. Yeah, you believe that? It's true. When I started my graduate program called Place Corps, they put me and 10 other teachers together in community housing because we lived for very cheap. The nuns no longer live there, so it was 11 of us teachers all living in this convent. Right over here is the church, and then the elementary school and the gym. This is where I parked my car, the parking lot here. And then across the street is actually a neighborhood. and I learned, funny enough, that one of my students, she's a junior this year, she actually lived right across the street. I never knew it until I had her on my basketball team freshman year, but pretty funny. Yeah, so she lives there. What else was in the neighborhood that I need to tell you about? Not much. I go play tennis here. That was fun. Across the street was another school. I'd go run this track in record time. I ran around that track many times. And then this was a green space. I always appreciate green spaces. So the garden here, that's a little community garden area. And then these fields were part of the school. So I would sometimes work out at the track and then hang out, not really hang out, but walk through the fields to get back to my house. This tells you a little bit about me. It helps you understand, wow, Mr. Kim has spent 2 years of his life in Compton. That's interesting. I wonder what that was like. Well, I'll tell you, it was good. I had a good time. I enjoyed my time there. I'm very fortunate to have school paid for, and that was a big part of it. And the neighborhood was mostly safe. I mean, there were some incidents. We don't need to get into those, but for the most part, we had a great time living there, and I'm grateful for that. So that's my map of me, and I did it on my neighborhood. As you'll see, I left you a bunch of examples. They're on the red chair. When you start your project, you can think about those, and then I'm going to have the substitute hand out right now the rubric. So you don't have to do your neighborhood. It's just some place that you do a map of, and you include all these things like the map key, the compass rose, the scale, a number of, I think it says at least 5 significant places. But it could be something else. I've had students do a lot of different things. A student has done Disneyland because she loves Disneyland and she feels like that tells us about her. So you can do a lot of different things. You don't have to do your neighborhood, although most people do. It's up to you. But take a look at the examples to get ideas. And then the other part of the project is a written part. So after you do your map, you're going to go ahead and follow the directions on the rubric for the write-up, which the substitute will go over with you. So recap. What do you need to do today? Number 1, finish your map work for the absolute location map here. Number 2, use the rest of the period to create your map of you, whatever place you choose, neighborhood, area, that represents you and lets us understand who you are better. Make sure you follow the rubric so you get an A on this project. It's an easy A as long as you follow the directions. And then make sure you do the write-up as well. Directions on the rubric. That's it. Have a wonderful day. I will be downstairs in the library doing a professional development on math and science, which is going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it. Yeah. All right. We'll see you later. Ciao. Oh, I'm sorry. And one more thing. Remember, anything you don't finish is homework. So if you don't finish your map, make sure you finish it. The write-up that goes with it, that would be homework as well. So I will be collecting all of this on Tuesday. Have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. Don't work too hard. We'll see you later. Although, work hard on your map because we want them to look fantastic. Ciao.